Today, I want to talk about an SV650, but I want to tell you something the other YouTubers never mention. Some people think this bike is outdated because of its headlight, dash, forks, brakes, lack of electronic helpers, or whatever. But what if I told you it's actually more modern than you might think? Let's compare it with Yamaha's CP2 bikes, for example. They're the most popular bikes in this price segment. So why not? You see, the CP2 bikes are completely different from the SV650, and it's not about that endless Pete-win versus Vite-win battle. Let me explain. Let's start with the airbox. On the SV650, it's located on top of the engine and closer to the front. It's not visible, and you're going to need to lift the tank to change the air filter. Yeah, you can't really put an air filter anywhere else on a Vite-win like this, but that's not the point. This layout became popular in the 90s with conventional supersport bikes. On any CP2 Yamaha, the airbox is located behind the engine, and it's visible. That kind of layout was common back in the 70s. Those bikes were called UJAMs, which stands for Universal Japanese Motorcycles. But wait, there's more. Let's talk about the frame. On the SV650, the frame runs along both sides of the bike and sits lower, just like on sport bikes. It's exposed and proudly painted in bright colors. Now, you might say, hey, those are made of aluminum, not steel, and you'd be right, but steel is more bulletproof. Kawasaki, for example, uses a steel frame on the Ninja H2, the fastest production bike in the world. As for the Yamaha CP2 bikes, the frame isn't that stiff, and it's hidden under the tank similar to 70s bikes, although those used double cradle frames and didn't use the engine as a stressed member. On the CP2 bikes, the frame is covered with aluminum plates to improve its appearance and make it stiffer. With the SV650, you're getting a V-twin, which isn't simple, compact, easy to work on, or lightweight, but it's a V-twin, like on some of the most legendary bikes ever made. Same thing goes for the frame. You're getting the real thing. A trellis frame, like on an MV Agusta, Ducati, Bimoda, or even a Ninja H2. The CP2 bikes are more utilitarian, whereas the SV650 has more in common with sport bikes, the most uncompromised bikes out there. Does that make the SV650 better than a CP2 bike? Well, it depends on what you want from a bike. If you know what you're looking for, whether it be touring, track riding, twisties, off-road, commuting, customizing, or stunt riding, the CP2 platform has got you covered. But if you don't know what you really want, if your goal is simply to own a nice bike and nothing more, then the SV650 might be the one for you. It's not really worth building the SV650 for the track anymore, because the stock R7 outperforms it, unless you're getting an SV really cheap and don't mind the extra work. And since I mentioned it, let's make this clear. The R7 was never meant to replace the R6. It was designed to be a better out-of-the-box track bike than the SV650. And in my opinion, it absolutely deserves the R7 name. Because here's the Yamaha R1Z from 1990, for example, and yes, it's a two-cylinder. The name of the bike doesn't really matter if the bike is good for its purpose and price point. Now let's get back to the SV650. You can't really stunt the SV650, and no one does. Squeezing more power out of it is tough, and not nearly as reliable as it is with the CP2. But you can always customize the look of the SV650, keep it forever, and ride it on weekends. It's a beautiful bike, really. The core of the SV is not outdated. It's special,